Hey everyone, Ethan from Planned right here, doing a fly through of a house we wrapped up this week. Just showing a little bit, one of our latest new builds. So, this is a very beautiful home. The clients initially reached out to me because they wanted to try out a bit of a different build technique, one that we don't do very often here in the valley, timber framed. Timber framing is very doable. On the surface, it seems like it could be significantly cheaper to build, given the current state of pricing to build. After we spent a little bit more time on the back end researching, chatting with engineers, we saw quickly that it was going to end up being a lot more. And it's not just on the material cost. Well, actually, to preface a little bit, the client himself was going to be building the place. So he wanted to do the work himself, outsource very little. So labor costs weren't really going to be a factor here. It came down to the material cost. So he had a good connection to get timber fairly cheap, or wood, lumber, and for that reason he figured that this would be a very good route to go, seeing that timber framing, generally most of the cost is inside the labor. Anyways, long story short, after chatting with engineers, we discovered very quickly that there were going to be a lot of other back end expenses, between SIPs panels for shear loads, which do add up and become pretty expensive on the material side. The engineering cost was going to be much more than my plan set cost or similar. Um, and then just the time involved, the amount of time he would have to take out of his normal work schedule to do that sort of install, that build, would have been pretty expensive. So that's one of these things. Nowadays, a lot of people are looking for cheaper ways to build because of how expensive homes are and how expensive it's been to build. And so people tend to look to other methods of construction, like the timber frame or pole barn, barn dominium. So there's a lot of other forms of construction becoming popular. What I want everybody to think about for a second is think of the builders that get a bad rap, these spec home, tract home builders that build loads and loads of homes for very cheap and take a good margin. These neighborhoods that are popping up, like our home, for example, these were built as cheap as possible to have the biggest profit margin possible. Look at those homes and see how they're built, because clearly those builders are using the cheapest possible build method available, to the cheapest, fastest really, and easiest, so they could hire anybody to do the work, people that wouldn't have to have tons of experience. When you look at these homes, they are always standard 2 by stud with truss on top framed. That's just how they're always built, because it is very cheap, fast, and easy to do. So, yes, material can potentially be cheaper with other build methods, but there's a lot more cost involved than just the material side. So, just something to keep in mind as you're looking to build a home or looking to build anything on your property and want to try to cut down costs. Just think about not just that material cost, but everything else that's going to cost you money. At the end of the day, you probably have a job, you probably make a certain amount at that job. That amount has to be surpassed by the cost savings building the home for it to really be worth it. So, anyways, gonna go ahead and go through this home a little bit. I said all of that because what we ended up doing instead of going timber framed is we went to a standard 2 by construction with scissor trusses throughout the center span. They really wanted to have that big exposed look throughout the middle, the big tall vault with huge beams that they could see. Very pretty look. Very expensive to build though. The lumber alone's expensive, but installing gets very pricey. If you're paying someone to do it and doing it yourself, you have to know what you're doing. It is not simple to do. So scissor trusses are much cheaper, of course, and a good way to bring down the cost, especially the install time. So, anyways, here's the home. Very pretty home. That popular, more modern farmhouse look. We didn't get too extravagant with the exterior finishings on things. Again, this was going to be more of a budget build in a way. They were trying to cut down costs as much as possible with this, so we didn't get too creative with any large dormers or really interesting window finishes, whatever it may be. So we kept this very simple. This will be an inexpensive home to build for what it is. The only things here that will probably add up to be a little bit more, metal roofing does tend to cost a bit more. It can. There's a lot of options out there now. Um, the taller pitch, higher pitch always can cost a little bit more, especially on the install side. Just something to keep in mind. Just think about if you were up on top of the roof building and throwing on roofing material, you'd probably want to be standing on a lower pitch versus a 10-12 pitch, right? So for that reason alone, builders do charge more. And of course, there's some more materials involved as well. But anyways, beautiful home, about 2,500, 2,600 square feet, large 3-car garage. In this garage area, they have a washroom, like mudroom, and an office. And what we'll do here is we're going to cut the top off so we can see on inside. So looking down, oh, a little too far, looking down right here, you can see the inside of that garage. This guy loves his garage space. He's a big DIYer, and so he wanted some space, ample space for cabinets and storage and workbenches and whatnot. And so I believe we have it about 25 to 26 feet deep, the full garage here. Yep, 25 feet deep, which is great. 20 feet is sufficient. It's tight. 22 to 23 is pretty standard. For a little bit more space, you can usually fit a row of workbenches across the back and still park an SUV. It's tight. I say that because we have a 22-foot garage. I've got workbenches across the back, and we have my wife's 7-seater SUV in there, and we still have room to walk through. So 25 foot is a great amount of space if you're looking to add on some work area in the back. So anyways, they have an office here. They wanted it separated from the rest of the home. Great idea. I showed in another post at some point that our future home, we're planning on doing the same thing, having that garage or the office isolated from the rest of the home as much as possible. So they have this mudroom right here, an area where they can wash the dog, which is great. Something they may end up doing here is putting a door, some sort of sliding, a small barn, or maybe a pocket door in this area so that they can close this off, and then they can wash the dog and then keep it open otherwise, so it's just a hallway. So what you don't want to have to do is open 2 doors to go in when taking in the groceries. So this is all, of course, insulated space in these 2 areas. We've got a full large laundry room here, which is wonderful. Look at all that storage space. It's pretty nice. We have our first bath here and a bedroom. Second bath with another bedroom. So this is a 3-bed with an office. We have our office, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom. We have our long, wider hallway here. Lots of access into the home, of course, from here and from here. We have a nice linen closet in this area and a smaller little broom closet next to it. So again, bedroom, bedroom. Each bedroom has their own bathroom. We have a pantry in here, a larger walk-in, and a great kitchen. Let's see if I can flip around a little bit. Then I'll throw the roof back on so you can see a little bit what we were going for in the inside. So what they wanted is the tongue and groove ceiling, an exposed, almost shiplap look, right, like this across the top, and the big exposed beams. So what we ended up doing, and what has become more popular, and I spoke with a few different builders. I've seen it in my own experience. My family, my parents have done the same thing. If you want the beam look, the recommendation from everybody is to still stick with normal scissor trusses like what we've done here. And if I zoom up a little bit or move up, we can see in this area. I don't have trusses displayed. You know what? Let me show those so you can get a feel for that. So we have our scissor trusses all inside of here. Little tricky to see it, but you can see we have the lower pitch in here. It's a 612 with a 1012 on the top. We've got room up in here to fill in with insulation, run AC ducting, and then below it all looks nice, open and exposed with a large vault, and these beams are all going to be faux or like foam beams. The foam beams are a really nice option. They're so much easier to install. They weigh nothing compared to a big, bulky, actual lumber beam. So the install side is very simple. And they look exactly like real lumber, which is pretty neat. If you do some Google searching, you can see that they really don't look cheap. There are really nice ones. So anyways, we were able to accomplish that big, open, more rustic, wood-framed look in this home while following still conventional construction methods, which are a lot cheaper. So they wanted to have lots of light coming in from the back. Another thing that they initially were planning on doing was having very large 4-panel sliders or 5-panel sliders across the back, maybe more. They wanted it pretty long. Something else we had to kind of go over and was how expensive those end up being. So if you're not familiar with them, just look up like 16 or 18 foot slider and just be shocked by some of the pricing. With these real large sliders, it's pretty easy for the doors to cost $30,000, $40,000. It's pretty extreme. So we went with a much cheaper option. We have the 2 6-footers here with transom windows up above. It's going to let in a lot of light still and still feel very open. Again, much cheaper way to build this while still letting it feel like a very large, open, well-lit space. So, pretty neat. There are pretty creative ways to cut down cost while still not cheaping out, per se, right? So, the master, I won't go and show this part per se, but it's the same deal. It's vaulted. You can kind of see the leftover electrical here, how these lights and fans are up. So it vaulted, same look. I didn't put beams in here, at least not on the plans there. They may add some in to make it look more like the center span here. So they get that look in their master. So as you can see, the master is on this left wing here. It's nice to keep it separated from the kids. So full master bath. They went with just a shower, opted to not do a bathtub in here. So the full large shower, toilet area, of course. I guess here in the entry real quick as well, we have that separated entry with a closet right in the front, which is kind of nice. Large double doors. I believe it's 5, maybe 6 feet across these doors. I don't remember off the top of my head. But yep, then you have the little separation into the master. Then you have a his and a hers closet, as well as an extra little linen or bath closet, whatever you want to use that as. So the back porch, large, I believe 10 foot deep, or decent size. It's 10 to 14 feet deep, so pretty nice sized rear porch, but it's wide. I think we had this about 30 to 40 feet across. So lots of room for entertaining. You can open up these doors, and between this area and their main living space, it's a great party or family time area. So the back, they are on an acre, so they have plenty of room in that backyard as well if they want to build that out. I'll cut this real quick. Just kind of show the inside again of that kitchen area. So great kitchen, lots of room, large island in the middle, got a fridge off to the side. This turned out great. We spent a little bit of time tweaking stuff here. They liked a plan they had seen online. And most of the work we do for new builds, it's based off of a plan set that you'll bring me. Normally my clients will come to me and say, this is a plan that we like. We want to make modifications to it, and it can take a few weeks or so back and forth as you finalize that design and perfect it. But very pretty home. They're very excited. Like I said, we finished this plan set up this week, so they're submitting for permits now, and hopefully this thing will be under construction within the next few months. That would be extremely exciting to see. So anyways, just doing, again, a quick little fly through of a recent build we've done. We've got a few more new builds that we're working on right now. I believe another 3 or so by the end of the year. Hopefully we'll get spit out, and we'll kind of fly through those too and show you. Other than new builds, of course, we do tons of casitas and additions and remodels. That's the majority of what people are looking to do right now. But anyways, this is Ethan with Planned Right. Thanks for taking a look. Hope you have a good day. Thanks. Bye.